And we're live. Welcome to the Killer Be Killed God Past podcast. I'm here with Josh, most unlistened to uh, podcast on the internet. So, um, yeah, what the hell was? Oh man, I was going to say something actually good, and I forgot about it. Uh, I literally, yeah, just in and out. I just had a wind up. A lot of crazy crap going on. Um, I will say we started filming these shorts for YouTube. They're like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And I dropped a couple, and immediately within a day, they got almost like 2,000 views each. Uh,
Heck yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's just the kid that I'm working with. And again, this is something that could be applied to what you're doing. It's just the biggest thing is just filming like a shit ton of like quick content. And what he does is him and his guys, they pump up the YouTube channel and then they put it into a whatchamacallit. Yeah, they just and then they change these basically they change the sales funnel. And what was interesting, and you can do it when you have a big enough following where people get used to you instead of doing like a flat out subscription model. um, I've already kind of started doing this. Instead, what we're doing is just like one price up front for a lifetime, and then like $15 a year maintenance fee. So as we're pricing this and setting this, what you're doing, we're setting it up. It's a lot. It seems to be a lot easier, believe it or not, to charge like $400 for something up front, and then wind up, and then they're in, which is great. And then you only pay $15 a year, which is nothing. But it winds up covering the cost of kind of running everything. And if you look at um, people's like interest over, let's say, even if they come and sign up for your karate class, most of them are only going to hang around for like
2 to 3 months.
Yeah, if that. I was like 6
Yeah.
weeks. So
Yeah.
now at least it's like you get, they're into it, they're engaged. You're like, okay, here. And then if you want to come back, it's no big deal, right? So
Yeah.
instead of just like hitting them every month for 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever it is, for like an elite membership. So yeah, so that's something we could, replicate very easily. It's just that,
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Like when I got the quote unquote elite or whatever, which was, oh gosh, a decade ago or something. I don't even remember. It was like, hey, pay this price for life. And I think it was like $500. And I was like, well,
something
that's
like
worth
that.
it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's that's it, right? So again, you're not like getting hit every month, and it's not something that and you got to look like from a business standpoint. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You have to look like,
Less
lifetime
processing
value.
fees and everything. Yeah.
It's just and it's just a lot less that can break. And then, you're getting your money up, you're getting money up front. And as a consumer, it's like, okay, I don't have to, this is it. I don't have to manage this, and I don't have to slowly hate it as it keeps coming in every, every month. So yeah. Yeah, a lot of strangeness going on. Are you aware of what's happening in South Africa?
Mm-mm.
Well, over the last, like, I would say a couple decades, there have been attacks on, white farmers.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like they're numbering in like the tens of thousands of dead, even more. I mean, it's crazy. And it's like,
Yeah. I have heard about
and
that
it's like,
stuff.
yeah, it's like politically, you know, charged. It's just insane. What the hell's happening? Yeah, man. I just said, I was like, you're talking to some people from there, and you know, I mean, it's blowing up. It's not gonna blow up. I mean, it's happening as we speak. Um,
My
people got,
brother's a contractor in Africa right now. I wonder how much he's dealing with that.
Yeah, right. What's he do? What's he working for? What he's
I
assigned
don't know
to?
exactly who he's working for, but he's my PJ buddy, so he's doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Let's add Clayton to the stage and bring him in. There he is.
He's alive.
Hey man, we haven't been talking about. Is there anything you want to bring us up to date? Say anything what happened, or share your experience?
Well, if you hadn't never had a stroke before, I don't recommend.
Not that kind. So, how did you know what was happening when it started?
Well, the disorientation, the dizziness, was a clue that something wasn't right. But I thought it may have been, just something out of whack. But when I started losing complete feeling in my whole right side, right arm, right leg, and my right eye started looking over here while my left eye was staring straight ahead. I kind of figured I was afraid I knew what it was, and that's what it was. So it was kind of scary.
Where were you when it happened?
In the Roses parking lot. Just come out from the store looking for dog food. So
damn.
If it had happened 5 minutes later, I'd have been on the road.
On the road. Yeah. Man.
That's crazy.
So what have the doctors got you doing now? I mean, what are you doing now? What's the plan?
Well, basically right now we are they implanted a loop monitor that records my heart rhythm.
Right.
And if it detects an AFib, that's what we think it is. Atrial fibrillation is what led to the clot that was back here. Then we'll confirm that it was AFib, and then we can take that monitor out, and they can insert pacemaker type something. Just the next time it happens after that, it'll be there'll be a way to regulate it. Right now, it's just a monitor. It doesn't do anything. But so yeah. It was an experience.
Right. So what are you doing as far as any what do they have? When can you start physical activity and do that kind of stuff?
Well, right now I'm still recovering from this busted bicep tendon.
Right.
So that happened a month about 5 weeks ago now.
I remember that.
So,
yeah, when it rains, it pours, man.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And getting laid off from a job at the beginning of February after 20-something years. Yeah, I hope I'm caught up for a little while.
Right.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah, man.
But builds character. That's what they tell me. Anyway, adversity builds character. So I think I'm about ready to start my own cartoon show, though. I got a bunch of character so far this year, I believe. But one thing about it, and this is something that I always try to keep in mind, I've had it kind of rough this year. But truth is, guys, there's a lot of people that have it a lot worse than me and have had it that way for a lot longer. So, I can't whine too hard, but I don't intend to have another stroke again. But yeah, they did every test on my heart you could possibly do once they found the clot and figured out that's was probably it originated in my heart somewhere. And the good thing, the upside to it, because on my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family, we never really have to worry about cancer.
Right.
Except skin cancer from being out in the on the farm too long, out in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody dies of heart attack or stroke before they can get cancer. So,
right.
Heart condition is very prevalent on both sides of my family, but they couldn't find anything wrong with mine. That's why we're kind of guessing now at what it could be. And when I say they did every test they could do short of ripping it out and dissecting it under a bright light and looking at it, I didn't know there was that many kind of scans you could do on a heart or anything else for that matter. They did about 6 different kinds of scans. And they said, it's a 55-year-old heart, but, and a carnivore at that, but shoot, before I left, they had me on the unrestricted diet and even gave me the little salt packs that I could have with my dinner. For the last 3 days I was in the hospital. So
I mean,
they said the diet was the problem.
I can go on and on about, what they give you in a hospital as far as food, besides it being mostly all processed crap.
Yeah,
it is unbelievable.
It tastes pretty good though when you ain't got nothing else to eat. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, well, when you're starving, a Ritz cracker is it's pretty amazing. Yeah, man. I look. I mean, my dad died at 66 years old. He had like 6 stents in his heart. He was really overweight. Didn't take care of himself. And I was like, I understand, food addiction too is so hard because it's not like heroin, right? I mean, you have to, you don't have to take heroin to live, right? You have to eat and drink to survive. That's so there's no getting off of it. It's just, that's why both my brother and sister and I are in pretty good shape because of that. We saw that, and I'm like, he was like there. He was at our house. It was he died on Columbus Day, so he was at our house like the night before. We had a nice time. It was weird. Like he was in like he just seemed peaceful and restful. Like he was at peace. And my wife, looked at me. She's like, "Wow, your dad looked really like good." And then like that next morning, gone. So I'm just saying, like, you got an opportunity here, right, to think about this, and you are lucky. You are lucky.
I dodged the bullet, my friend.
Yeah, for sure.
If I lose a simple word when I'm talking to you, that's the only real lingering effects of it so far that I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean you've been through it.
I haven't lost any strength or coordination on my right side, or anything. But for the last 25 or 30 years, because my father, he died from a heart condition when he was 47.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
damn, dude,
it's a hereditary condition, and so every so often I have to get checked for it to make sure it doesn't show up in me. The old name for it is idiopathic hypertrophic subaortic stenosis. It's basically the thickening,
whatever that means,
of a muscle inside your heart. Now, there's a new name for it. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is what they call it. HCM.
I think it needed that name change.
Yeah, it did. When I first heard about it, that's what it was called, that old name. So that's what sticks in my head. But several of his siblings, it's showed up in them, and so it's a really a problem on my father's side of the family. But so far, all the times like I said, periodically have to go get some pretty comprehensive tests. stress tests and echo cardiograms and stuff to just, if you catch it soon enough, you can treat it. But he had no idea. Right. And by the time they found it, his only solution was a heart transplant. And he was on the list for one. He just didn't get one in time. But several of his siblings have showed up with them. But if it never shows up in me, then my kids should never have to worry about it, because it's not what they call a generation jumper. If I don't get it, they ain't got to worry. They can stop. My grandkids, they can all stop worrying about it, at least from my end. So that's right. But like I said, so I've kept pretty good tabs on my heart for years because of that. Mm-hmm. I have a cardiologist since I was less than 30, just for that reason. And my heart's always done pretty good. And even this time, like I said, they did so many tests before they decided, okay, we can't find a reason for this to have happened, because your heart's in pretty good shape. So now we got to start looking for things and the thing about AFib, which is a funky heart rhythm, it doesn't leave any footprints. So unless you catch it in the act, in other words, you're hooked up to some kind of monitor when it happens, you'll never know for sure that it did happen. And so, but once we catch it one time, then they consider that good, and we'll move forward because it's confirmed.
So are you taking like Eliquis or something like that?
No, I take aspirin every day, which thins your blood a little bit. But luckily they have not put me on a high octane blood thinner.
That's good. That's good, because my mom
is like a stuck pig anyway, and they had me on Eliquis for the first few days in the hospital, and man, every needle stick, it still looks like somebody beat me with a sledgehammer. The bruising and stuff, it's awful.
It's brutal.
Like I said, I bleed pretty good anyway, and then on that stuff, it was tough. So I'm glad I don't have to. At least at this point, they don't have me on any. So I got out easy on it, considering how it could have been, because my mother spent the last 4 years of her life completely paralyzed on her right side from a stroke, and I was one of her primary caregivers, and man, that's hard. That's hard, and I think, when my wife showed up on scene before they got me loaded on the ambulance, and luckily nobody got in her way while she was coming. She was coming. Yeah, they wouldn't have stopping that woman. She scared me when she got there. But anyway, anyway, I saw how upset she was, so I calmed myself down so that I could try to calm her down, because I had kind of accepted at that point that, okay, I know how this goes. I watched, and was very close to taking care of my mother the last 4 years that she was completely paralyzed from, here over all the way down from her eyebrows to her big toe. And I was too at that point, and that was a sick feeling. I didn't consider the fact that it could be temporary. So I just that wasn't a good feeling, guys. That was a pretty sick feeling. Luckily, I was it didn't last. Within less than I'd say probably less than 8 hours. The only residual physical thing that I could tell was my peripheral vision in my right eye. I could see my eye had started looking forward again, or working with the other eye. They were in sync again, but I had no vision, peripheral vision, from just past center over in that right eye. But by the next day, even that had come back. So,
all right,
that's good. That's good.
All right, man. So
I'm right-eye dominant, and I'm a firearms instructor. So, yeah,
right.
that could have been. You can appreciate that, for sure, Josh.
Yeah, the left eye will pick it up. It happens. You
gotta check out Vision Training by Mike Ox.
Yeah, I've actually done that. It's actually pretty good. If you got a empty roll, a paper towel roll,
Yeah.
you'll be all set, man. Good shit. So yeah, well, it's great to have you back, dude. So
I'm glad to still be able to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So one of the things I want to throw up, just to have some fun with. So we started posting these shorts on YouTube, and we're going to be doing a ton of them. I just want to throw up the technique, and we'll just talk about it. This one is
this the chest bump one?
No. That one wound up being like too long. So the formula that I have to do for these things, so I only have and this is totally, it's a learning process for me, which is great because it's new. I got to get my shit together in like 30 seconds. These are a little shorter, only because we had a little miscommunication. Because the way these are going to be moving forward is like trying to do like a typical technique and then showing what's wrong with it and then explain it and then demo it. But it's got to be within like 30 seconds. So
basically he just cuts out all your talking.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So picture these with yeah, well, we're gonna fucking do it.
All right, throw it up.
Yeah, so here we go. All right, let me know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, so hands up, natural reaction. I'm gonna clear the weapon, rotate my body, and strike at the same time. Then I'm coming back, elbows, edge of hands, driving him over, running through him. All right. So again, we've all seen this before, and I get into the comments, which is fine, which is typical shit. Which the first one was, he'll blow your head off, and to that, it's like a couple things. One, I'm obviously clearing the weapon and rotating my body. My head is like goddamn foot from the gun. So
yeah, you might take it in the arm, but
definitely, and I totally accept that. And that's what the next one. Oh, you get shot in the arm. I go, yeah. I'm
okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I will. I'm like, you're going against somebody who is a fucking firearm, right? So, you don't have one, right? And the first thing about any self-defense technique, one, it's like these people get into this game. Well, if you do that, I would just shoot. First off, people, anyone who attacks you is going to do it in a way that they think they're going to be successful. If they thought you would do some freaking technique, they're going to do another approach, or they're going to pick somebody else. So that's first and foremost.
I wonder what the statistic. I wonder what the statistic is on people that commit crimes with unloaded weapons.
Oh,
because that happens higher than people realize, right? Because
toys.
Right, because we've talked about this, I think, on the last podcast or the one before, where like criminals understand there's a big difference between killing somebody and just robbery, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
And so a lot of them go with unloaded or toys, right?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, we're assuming it's a real firearm.
Yeah, obviously, assumption, right? Assume it's loaded, ready to go, right? Yeah.
Right. So, when someone approaches you in this manner, they're going to want to. They're trying to intimidate. Can you mute that or give him his food finally? maybe you didn't get it. Maybe you forgot to pick it up from the store. So, this guy's approaching you is to intimidate you. I mean, if anyone shoots you like this, they're gonna get shit all over them. So that's what, first and foremost. So they're not walking, they're walking away looking like they got hit with a paintball gun. So it's not like, they're coming away clean. 1, 2. So this is clearly an intimidation technique, and they want information from me, or they want to move you to someplace else, right? So that's what you're dealing with. 1. 2 is they're not expecting you to resist. If they did, again, they would pick somebody else, or they would try another approach, period.
Yeah, there's a definite surprise factor there, right? Where like people who are committing a crime, especially with a weapon, especially a gun, they think that the person that they're committing the crime against is not going to do anything because they're too scared about the weapon, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as you probably should be. So, you've got, I don't know if you're not scared, if you're walking around like, holy crap. And that's another thing why this is literally 2 techniques. Right? There's nothing more to it. It is, clear with the heel hand and then your hand. So the other thing is that as we're attacking, we're always taking ground. This is paramount in everything we do. So this keeps you behind the weapon, so to speak, and whether they're squeezing off rounds, whether they're, if their hands, because people like their hands will flinch or their hands will go relaxed. I don't care, right? I mean, nobody knows what your hands are going to do. I mean, if you get shocked, typically your grip relaxes. So, your hands go, you get hit, you touch the stove hot, your hands open up. They don't close up. So typically, whatever, I don't even, I
hate talking about stuff like that. I hate talking about stuff like that because now we start moving away from the 4 assumptions, right? You start moving away from like, assume it's loaded, assume they're trained, assume they're intend to do you harm, et cetera, right?
Right.
And so when you start talking about like, okay, how do we approach this? How does this technique work? Blah, 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 blah. Like, yes, we understand that there's all these assumptions. Okay. Yes, you have to take that into consideration. But people, like, there is natural reactions, right?
Right.
You just can't guarantee that that's the natural reaction.
Right. Absolutely. And you can't guarantee that everything you're going to do is going to work. That's why we do multiple of the same thing. I mean, Pete's moving back. Sometimes guys disengage. But again, once you're locked onto that weapon, you're just hammering and driving them and just trying to run them over. And then, either he's down or you escape, whatever. The reality is you are better off. Am I better off than when I started this? Right. And if, I got a chance, if I'm getting shot in the arm, okay, I'm not doing what he's doing. And it's a very survivable wound. So, look at you can look at GSWs on YouTube all day about how many people get shot multiple times. You just don't want it here. And you just don't want it here, So, and this is where everybody trains to shoot, center mass, because highest percentage. And Clayton, you can jump in on this, and like, it's where your hands naturally come out at that level. I mean, it's very natural. I mean, as soon as you start aiming for people's head, your ability to hit that target like fucking goes in the toilet. So. And now you're running them over, you're taking them off, you're taking them, you're taking ground, you're driving them backwards. They're running and stumbling and tripping, and all the while you're striking, beating the hell out of them. So, anything more than like if you're grabbing the weapon and twisting it or doing that, I mean, it's just, you wind up wrestling around the firearm, and he's still got free hands and feet and head and knees and all kinds of crap to be like, oh shit, we're fighting. I'm just going to start punching in the face. So, everyone likes to have things these like wrapped up in these neat little packages. And like I said, I'm like, you're like being led down. Your level of expectation is not real. And also when you're training, you're going to get shot. You're going to get stabbed. I mean, I remember when I was young, we would be doing these knife drills and somebody would like tap me and they'd be like, you're dead. Like, no, I'm not. You know, I'm like, I don't even know if you stabbed me or not. You keep going, right? Nobody dies in training. You know, so you know, we're looking at this. Go.
I was gonna say, you know, this brings up an interesting point. So a few months ago, my buddy and I, we were training gun disarms just for the heck of it, because I wanted to see, you know, like we talk about, you know, what's effective, what's not effective, right? You know, with gun disarms. And I was like, all right, let's just go to town with each other. You know what I mean? And we'll just like see who can come up with the best technique. You know what the most effective thing was? Most effective thing that I did that entire time, which is completely instinctual, by the way, was I cleared the weapon, I stepped in, and I gave him a chin jab.
Yeah, that's all you done.
And I had to stop because, like, as soon as I popped him in the chin, I actually had to like back off because I was like, "Oh man, I'm about to like crush this dude." And my buddy was like, and it like stunned him for a second, you know. And then I was like, "We good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I was like, "All right, my bad, dude. Didn't mean to jack you like that."
Right, but it's just, you know, you're thinking because everyone just wants to get this control over this thing. I'm like, dude, you know, don't even think. You know, your focus is always on we always say attack the man, attack the man, attack the man.
Yeah.
Your focus is always on the man. So
yeah, the more we wrestled for it, the more we got shot.
Yeah.
You know, because we use my cert guns, right? So like every click, you could see where the laser hit. You know, and there'd be time, you know, we'd wrestle through it, and he'd be like, "Well, I got you," and I'm like, "Yeah, like 2 or 3 times in the arm, maybe," you know.
Right.
And I'm like, "But I can still go, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's true," you know.
Yeah. So like with these things, especially with, you know, smaller caliber weapons, you know, a lot of times you don't even feel it. I mean, people get shot. I mean, I always love that the video of the boxer and the cop, and the cop unloads his magazine in the dude, and the guy's like just keeps running him over, you know, just keeps beating the shit out of him. You remember that? It's old video. Oh, now I gotta look it up.
I don't know.
All right, hold on. So
I mean, I've seen lots of videos of people getting shot running through cops.
Yeah, there's 3 main ways that bullets stop a person. You know, you got you hit to your brain back here, your motor controls, which is why we aim here. It's not for what's here; it's for what's behind it back here.
Right.
Blow that
base of the skull.
They might be dead before they hit the ground.
Right.
You blow out the left ventricle of their heart, they're gonna be dead shortly after they hit the ground. But those are very precise hits.
Right.
And you can't count on them, even no matter how good you are with a firearm. You can't count on those. The way it works for most of us mere mortals is we punch enough holes in them that they bleed out, and we induce hypovolemic shock. You know, but that takes time. And during that time, whether it's 30 seconds or 90 seconds, if those people are determined, they can more than kill you more than once. You know, and so that's why, okay, he's shot. Yeah, all right, he's shot. That's a start, but it is by no means the end. You know, and that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Well, with their references movies and TV, right? Yeah. So they see people get shot once and fall down.
Yeah,
got him. And if you're playing, you know, you know, what the hell, you know, Call of Duty, right? You're hitting like clack, clack, and the guy's down, right? You're getting. I'm like, that guy's not down. Yeah. I'm like, you know, I got a number of guys that can tell you some, and I know we all do. We all have guys that can tell you stories of putting a lot of rounds on a body, and they keep coming. Now, granted, you know, I'd rather be the guy getting the rounds down range and be receiving them, but
for sure,
still, it's you know, it's not this, you know, it's like this martial arts game of, you know, don't touch, you know, the weapon, you know, as soon as the weapon touches you, you're dead. As soon as you get shot, you're dead. You stop fighting. And the problem with that, with typical training, is that, you know, you wind up training that habit. So if you do see that you're shot or stabbed, instead of getting more angry and even more in rage, you stop. You're like, oh my God. And that's it. It's like when your child falls when they're little, and you're like, and it's like your reaction makes their reaction, right? So you see them take a bad fall, you're like, oh my God, and they're like, oh my God. And like, it's like, yeah, and you're like, so you get used to just shutting the hell up when they hit the deck, and you're like, okay, let's see what happens. Like, okay, walking it off. Good. So I found that video.
They have to be. They bounce.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're made that way. So here's the I think this is the full video.
Richmond County, Georgia. Sheriff's Deputy Shannon Mitchell has a possible DUI in the backseat of his cruiser when he sees a car blow right past him and through a red light.
Okay, so yeah, cops got somebody in the back. Hey man, let's pick up another one. Right?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
He pursues with lights flashing. The driver pulls over and the deputy approaches with his gun drawn.
All right, so right away, I mean, what are your thoughts on him having his weapon drawn going to the car after, typically after a high-speed pursuit, correct? I mean, this is procedure?
Yeah.
Guys, anyone?
Clayton, is that procedure?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if somebody does a high-speed chase like that, you're not just going to casually walk up to the car.
Right.
Well, you could, but it's not
advisable.
There's there's a reason they're running, and it's usually not good. So yeah. All right.
Then reaches in, pulls the parking brake, and gets the suspect.
So I don't know if he pulled the parking brake. Maybe he told him to put it in park. I don't know about reaching in and I don't know about that move right there.
I mean, this was a different time. This video looks like it was definitely from the 90s.
Definitely, without a doubt. Yeah, I wouldn't be reaching in there, but okay.
Suspect out of the car. So far, so good as he pats the driver down for weapons. But the man has two weapons that the deputy doesn't suspect. His fists. In fact, he's a former prize fighter. And he's looking to get a first-round knockout right here and now.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. Like, holy crap. Yeah, so, yeah, that dude is huge, too.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect is unfazed by pepper spray, and the odds for the law are not good.
Okay, so kudos to this cop. I mean, he's literally running for his life and trying all sorts of shit before he goes to his weapon. So the pepper spray, hey, it's hit or miss, kids. Again, this guy's forced to deal with him. Normally you'd be probably trying to escape if you were by yourself. But here we go.
Is 5'7", 145 pounds.
That's a problem. If he was, if he was 5'10", 205, maybe he doesn't get, that's, you got to look like
5'10", 205 is me, by the way.
Right. Still, it's a good sized human, dude. I mean,
I'm not small. I compare myself to a lot of people, and I'm on the bigger side.
Yeah, agreed. You got to look like something coming out of the car, right? And I know, everybody's got, but there's, it's a cop, man. You got to have a certain presence that, you don't want to fuck with this guy or girl, right? So, you got to. And this guy's a fighter and sized him up pretty quick. And yeah.
Against a 6'2" fighter weighing in at 250.
Yeah, holy shit. It's
That's a big
110
person.
pounds more, man.
The backseat of the patrol car, the DUI suspect enjoys the spectacle.
Holy shit. Oh.
But the deputy is in deep trouble. Unable to evade the suspect any longer, he reaches for his gun.
I mean, yeah, this is obviously completely justified, but I'm surprised. I mean, look, I give this cop a lot of credit for staying on his feet this long. This is a lot of abuse.
Not only that, but he went a long time before he drew.
Yeah, that's a whole like we got like a minute or so of actual fight time, which is eternity.
The first shot misses.
Okay, right? First shot misses. That happens.
The second hits the suspect in the side. In most cases, that would be the end of it.
No, it wouldn't be the end of it, but let's go.
But this is one tough bad guy. What's worse,
So do you think the boxer knows he even got shot?
Nope.
No. Yeah, he didn't even feel it.
Deputy's gun has jammed. But he has the presence of mind to unload the bullet cartridge, which makes all the difference.
He racked around to clear it while he's getting his ass beat.
That's mad props.
Damn. yeah, dude, that's holy shit. Right? Like, holy crap.
And he did it one-handed, it looked like.
Oh, that's sick. I'm gonna see if I can see that again. Let me go back.
Cartridge, which makes all the difference. Because now the suspect has control of the gun.
Oh.
He strikes the deputy with the pistol.
Holy shit.
And chases him down the road. The deputy finds his radio and makes a call for help as his attacker stalks after him.
42, headquarters. 42, take left. 42.
The suspect still won't back down, not even with a bullet in his side. And the deputy is nearly exhausted.
Nearly? No, he is.
Yeah, he's spent, man.
The fight continues off camera, but seconds later, music to the deputy's ears.
Yeah, they're still so far away.
Yeah. Even if it takes 10 seconds, that's way too long.
It's way too long.
Of approaching sirens. Even with that, the suspect is still fighting. Backup arrives and takes control of the situation. His attacker is cuffed and arrested, but it's been one nightmare traffic stop for Deputy Mitchell. He was treated with 22 stitches for a head wound and other minor injuries. The suspect had reportedly stopped taking medication for a mental disorder and was arrested 2 weeks earlier for allegedly breaking another officer's nose. But somehow, both men survived this terrific battle in one piece.
Which, which happens with a lot of shit too. Most of the times that's what happens. It's not like everybody dies. It's like people stop, and they go away, right? I mean, you're looking at, the martial arts training, it would be, oh, you shot me in my side, I'm done now. Okay. Or you hit me, that worked, right? And then both these guys swinging, shooting, pepper spray, and not a damn thing worked. So getting back to what we talked about before, plan on nothing working, and you've got to continually just, go. This is why oh my God, that guy fought for like 2-minute, like that was like a legit 2-minute round fight for your life, which is like running a marathon. So yeah, man, hats off to that dude. Holy crap. Yeah, that was nuts.
Nowadays,
So
we would call and just let the guy sit there till backup came, and then 3 or 4
Yeah.
of us would approach the vehicle.
Absolutely.
If we had to take them down first, because people talk about, well, it was a routine traffic stop. There are 2 things that are the most dangerous things that cops do on a daily basis. Patrol officers,
Right.
anyway. One of them is domestic violence calls, okay,
Right.
for a number of reasons. The other is traffic stops, because you don't know if you're pulling over Mother Teresa or,
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Damn Freddy Krueger. Okay.
Right.
You just don't know. So.
And you could, it could be a suspect. A guy could be, taking his mom's car. So you're running the plate. You're like, oh, you're expecting to see some 7-year-old woman, and it's some 30-year-old guy with fucking, a rap sheet of violence. And, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about tinted windows, because that was very much illegal when I first started driving. Now they come out of the factory with like massive tint on them. I'm like, yeah, I go, that's why you get pulled over. I go, you got to roll everything down.
Yeah.
You got to,
walked up the cars before, and I was sure there was two people in the car, a driver and a passenger. What I couldn't see was sometimes the 3 people in the back seat.
In the back, yeah.
All of a sudden, it's 5-1. Cool. And I've already
got
the ball rolling.
Right.
That's scary.
Yeah. Holy crap! Because again, you can't back down, but it's you go to, okay, just sit right here, put your keys on the dash, and then you fucking call.
Yeah,
everybody come up. That's like
what you do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In a case like that, you'd be crazy not to, if you just take the chance. I mean, more than likely, everything's gonna go okay. But what if it does? You might not get another chance.
You're getting someone, who potentially this could be the last, their last straw, right? So you pull them over and they're like, all right, that's it. Not today. I'm not going back.
Right.
And
because the funny thing about it, when you pulling somebody over, they don't know what you're pulling them over for. You might be pulling them over for the busted tail light, but to them, you're pulling them over for the worst thing that they've done. Okay, that's what you got them for in their mind.
Right.
And if it, depending on how bad that was, whether it's, drug dealer or murderer or rapist or whatever, that's what you're about to get them for in their mind. And you don't know anything about that stuff in reality, but that puts a whole different spin on it. So, yeah.
Right. So, no, it looks like we got a fan. Nice. So that's it. Shut your cake hole. All right. That's unimaginative. So anyway, yeah. I mean, when we would teach, arresting techniques, it's like 4 people, to do it on a non-compliant subject, and they, when I see these, when I see videos of like one cop trying to arrest somebody, I'm like, by yourself, like as soon as, you start clicking steel on them, people react. Now it's real. Now it's, my hands are behind my back. I'm fucking, no, this is not real. I'm not letting this happen. We're done. So, always like overwhelmed with numbers. That's how it works in combat. That's how it works in law enforcement. This is how,
that's how it works in survival, safety in numbers, man.
Survival. Yes. Yes. So, when you see 4 or 5 cops showing up, now you're like, all right, if I know it's going to end badly. And then, especially like, I mean, around here in the suburbs now, if you get something that really goes off, everybody's coming.
It's true.
Everybody's coming, dude. I know guys that for like 2 towns over, like, hey man, we heard you got something. And I'm
I've
like,
seen them show up on
look at this
scene
shit.
in their pajamas,
So
literally.
Yeah.
Bad enough with other cops. Yep.
Right. That's it. Same thing happens in the fire service. If there's like an actual job, everybody and their mother shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like guys like dusting off their jackets, coming out with their old Chiefs hat on, like walking around the fire ground and like giving orders. Like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, go talk to my chief. Go get the hell out of here. So, okay, I got one more I want to do. It's the knife attack one.
Hey, I like how on that first video you had only likes though, no dislikes. Way to go.
Right.
Yep.
You know what that means though? It means you're not making enough martial artists mad.
I know. I know. So one of the pet peeves I have with, people with, knife defenses and things like that is that, again, the only problem with this video is I couldn't run away far enough. So I had to actually do something. But in reality, man, I am running. I'm using picnic tables. I'm throwing trash cans. I'm doing. If I don't have something on me, I'm using everything around me. And but no, like you got to do this. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this. But there's no way I'm standing here because the problem is, if your first instinct isn't to move and get out of there, when you train to be like, okay, there's a knife. Now I have to defeat the knife. Here we go. Right. So I'm going to, I don't know, hopefully, try to catch him, catch the hand and do something. No freaking way. Because like we were talking about before, Josh, like, you're grabbing that hand and weapon and you're not doing anything to him. He's beating the shit out of you. Right. Yeah. You're wrestling over it, and you're like,
all right, you going to play the video?
Oh, I didn't I? Oh,
no,
I got to share it. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Oh, look at me. I didn't share it. Yes. Okay, share screen. There we go. Share. Okay. There we go. Oh, not that one. Sorry. By the way, that defense is basically the same one as the
it was identical. Defense. Wait a minute. You can use the same defense?
Yes, let's show this too. Yes. Look at this.
He jacks me up. Yeah, nothing fancy. I don't want to grab anything here. I'm just going to come in and strike and clear his head right off. Again,
I like your tan.
Thanks.
Continuing to attack the head.
I got the Rogan filter on.
What do you say, somebody that you're doing that to, Damian, and head's going to actually fall off? That's going to be a hell of a day.
Right. So again, getting back to the gun defense, it's the same goddamn defense, right? Same defense, people. So this is why you're training, simple skill sets and just applying them to different things, whether his hands are here, whether he's holding a weapon, whether he's holding an edge, a knife or whatever. It doesn't matter. And this is how you train. So it's easily recalled. It's not like I had to remember a different, just weaving underneath and grabbing. It's like, what are you doing? Right. You're just wrapping in. And when I see two men doing that, it's ridiculous because trust me, in judo, you try to break a dude's grip like that. I mean, it's hard. Somebody's grabbing your gi and you're wrapping in and doing it. It don't work. So, so you're going to be, I mean, you got to grab it, pull it, wrap your arm, one arm around. It's a whole process.
People don't realize there's a technique just to disengage somebody holding you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's if you're just going to out muscle them, good luck, man.
Right. Right. And to sit there, then you watch little girls do the little weave and the thing over, like, oh, look, it worked. Bro, don't do. Oh, you're going against the wrist. You go, dude, that dude is stronger than you by a lot.
Yeah.
And he's also going to be slamming your head. And you also got to think about getting headbutted, getting kneed, all the other crap that happens. Why is he grabbing you? He could be grabbing you to headbutt you. So
yeah, when you get grabbed, something's coming, right?
Yeah, I had one guy was like, I've been in 30 street fights and this never happened. I've never seen that. My response is like, I've been in 31 and it happened to me 14 times.
I've been riding my motorcycle for years. I ain't never laid it down. Well, dude, you ain't really been riding. You just been sitting
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I tell everybody when I'm teaching people getting grabbed, I tell everyone, look, you're getting grabbed and one of two things is happening. You're getting grabbed and you're either getting hit or you're getting chucked somewhere.
Right. 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 So, it's just like the whole thing, when the guy's like, this is one of those bullshit techniques. I go, actually, no, it's not. But you never grab somebody and just chuck them.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's that. I'm like, I've done it. Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's like, but I love that shit. I'm like,
did I tell you that story?
No, go.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you that story when I was doing CQB training with my soldiers, and they were coming through the door, and I chucked the one guy, and the guy stopped in the door trying to back out because he didn't want no part of that. And so I stopped the training. I'm like, what are you doing? You got to keep pushing forward. And he's like, look, it was dark. He's like, all I saw was the guy in front of me get grabbed and go head over heels. He's like, I was not going in there.
I'm done. What's the
so then the next iteration, I targeted him and I chucked him sideways up against a wall. And after that, he was like, okay, we all learned don't mess with Sergeant Kaywood.
Right. Right, dude. I mean, you should have learned two things then.
Right?
Or three. Keep your mouth shut. Holy crap.
So good. Awesome. So good.
But yeah, so it's I love this. I have one dude, post about judo, and I'm a second, I'm the national blah 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 judo, and do this other shit. This is about grappling and self defense and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, and I politely responded to him, and I'm like, hey, because his whatever his handle was I touch monkeys. I don't know. So I'm like, hey, you're a national competitor. I go, what's your name so I can look you up on the USJF website? He's like, oh, you're trying to dox me? I'm like, well, you're kind of making a claim here. So, yeah, I kind of like to defend judo, to be quite honest. I'm like, my name's up there, so you can go find it. I'm like, it's there. So, that said, I'm like, these people when they post shit, they're like, I'm like, based on what? I mean, you don't. It's funny because then they get indignant, like you don't believe them. I'm like, yeah, you wrote it, so it must be true.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you lie? Try to prove your ridiculous point. Yes, you would absolutely lie. All right, so the last one. All right. Okay, yeah. So knife attack. Here we go.
All right, I see a knife. I'm not going to stand here like a statue and do something fancy. I'm going to use my environment. So I'm going to move around and get him to come off balance, and then I'm going to move in, attack, taking ground, trying to run him over. Don't give him a chance to plant his feet and stab you.
Right. So.
All right, I see a knife. I'm not going to stand here.
Who's your training dummy?
Oh, that's Pete. That's Pete.
Oh, it's Pete again?
Yeah. It's right now.
That dude's a champ, man.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. I don't know what it is. I gotta keep sending him testosterone.
In the world.
Oh, dude, what do you say? I get to beat up my son too, because he's my other grab dummy. Because I got to film a shit ton of these things. So I'm just like, dude, just go. Let's go. Let's film. Let's rip off 30 of them. So yeah. they yeah. So again, like I was saying before, I'm like the only problem with this video is I couldn't run far enough, right? I couldn't like really kind of because look, if somebody's presenting a knife to me, first if I'm with my family or my wife, you know, she knows to leave and immediately call 911. Just
Will
run.
you have a family plan for emergencies?
Shocking, I know.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nutty, isn't it? Dude, on my first date, I told my wife this. I'm like, something happens, just run. I go, just run, call the police, and that's it. Don't stay here. And again, people, we talk about this a lot in the training that we do. It's not about machismo. It's about just putting the clock on this guy or these people who are planning to assault you. Because as soon as you're gone, then they know the cavalry's coming. So they're going to, you know, wrap it up real quick or just leave as soon as they leave. What you don't want to do is have somebody sitting there that, you know, could ultimately become a liability and, you know, leveraged against you. So I said, you don't know who you're dealing with. Best thing for them to do is not listen, hey, it's not about chivalry. You want to stay and I'll run and go call the cops? No problem. You know,
whatever you want.
If that's what you want, honey, that's what you get. You know? So, you know, so in this case, it's really, like I said, I'm like, the really only thing we're caring about is getting stabbed, right? So in order to do that, he's got to plant his feet and drill you in a way just like, you know, he's got to hit something that collapses a lung or, you know, cuts a main artery or something like that. So even if you get stabbed or cut or whatever, I'm like, you're going to highly probable that you're going to survive. So don't do something stupid where you're trying to catch the knife and do this other stuff. Because if you're even remotely, you don't even have to be remotely trained. If you're remotely experienced, you know, the knife is, you know, going to be in the rear hand. They're going to come in and like pin you or grab you and hold on to you and then just start shivving the shit out of you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you want to make sure that as soon as you like can get them off balance or they're you know, you catch them, just like in the video, you know, I just kind of check the arm that's there and go. And this is because I see he's got a weapon because he's threatening me with it. If it were an actual like altercation where maybe he had the weapon hidden behind his leg, or maybe it was, you know, had it like folded and underneath, you know, that's why you go first, go fast, go hard, right? So he doesn't have a chance to set his feet and start doing that to you. I mean, getting cut when you're running somebody over is a lot different than getting stabbed when somebody's running you over. So, yeah, I mean, this, you know, people don't, you know, again, they, you know, they expect to kind of get out of this without any injury or superficial or whatever. And I'm like, you're not preparing yourself for what could most likely happen.
It ain't likely.
Right. I mean, you know, you're lucky. So, yeah. All right, guys, looks like we've come to the end. Thanks everybody for joining us. Stephen Wayne Tate, thank you for your thoughtful comment.
Yeah, not sure who that was directed at, but all right.
I pick one, right? So I'm like, I don't, you know, this is a grown up, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, we're good. So yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us, and you know, until next time. Again, Clayton, glad to have you back and seeing you.
Thank you, guys.
Full strength, man.
I've done it one time. I don't intend to do it again. Once is enough. So I plan to be here right regular for a while.
All right, and just want to end the. I just podcast to a friend of mine who passed away. Bobby, you and your family, is a really sweet guy. He's had his wake today. We got his funeral tomorrow. Complications with colon cancer. Really, really, really just a nice guy. I was talking, Josh, I talked about before the show. So he and his son and my son, grew up together. His son dated our next door neighbor's daughter, who's like family to us. I mean, really sweet people. He was a contractor, really fair guy, just really nice. They had this, nice little family unit. And so he got diagnosed with colon cancer about 2 years ago, and then came back, but his immune system was so compromised that he kept getting sick, so they couldn't do anything with it. And so rip Bobby. That's it. So again, thanks everybody for joining us. Until next time, again, train honestly.